How's this for a B-roll?
Real cars, real guys, and real talk. Live from the gearbox at Unique Classic Cars. Welcome to Motorhood.
And we're back.
Is this episode 18?
Are we going to ask this question every single time?
I keep forgetting. I'm terrible with numbers.
These on-air production meetings about things we should know ahead of time, we should probably stop that. I don't know.
I think episode 18 is where we're at.
I think you're right.
We're going to talk about some American muscle cars. The inventory here is constantly changing all year, but this time of year, it gets really crazy.
Yeah, it's the pace accelerates quite a bit.
And we've got some fantastic American muscle in here. We've got a lot of cars, again, but I was telling Dylan earlier, I was like, depending on who you are, you pull up in one of these more modern cars, I don't care what it is, and a guy pulls up alongside you in that Charger that we've got at the end of the aisle.
Yeah.
Your woman's getting out of that Corvette or whatever, and she's climbing right in with the other guy. There's not even a question. That's a real car.
Yeah, even if she's not physically doing it, 100% she's mentally climbing in there.
There's not even a question.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to pop down there. I know you're busy. We've got the Twin Cities Auto Show going on right now.
Yes.
You've been out buying cars. We've got consignments coming in. Because, guys, again, people who aren't familiar with the culture, it's a constant change, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, everybody wants to get, and when someone brings a car in on consignment, it's not, oh, gosh, they're selling it because there's something wrong. No, they're selling it because they want to play with something else.
Right.
A lot of times.
That is exactly, I couldn't phrase it better. The hunt is never over.
Correct.
Just like it says on the back of my hoodie.
We should put that on a shirt.
We should. We did. These hoodies, again, you can find them on our website. The hunt is never over. Speaking of consignments, you and I were talking a little bit about this earlier. Having spent some time in sales, there are things you never hear from clients, and there's going to be things you never hear from the dealer.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You can kind of role play these out, and, once you say them out loud, it's actually pretty hilarious. Like, things you never hear a customer say, like, George, when you were selling, did anyone ever say to you, oh, my gosh, George, I couldn't possibly accept that much for my trade?
No. Never. They'll be like, you got to back that off. Let's make this fair. Well, we'll just kick that back maybe about $5,000.
Or how about George? Hey, George, I want to trade in my car on this other GTO you got here. But first, let me tell you all the things wrong with my car.
Right. We would love to hear that. You know what the number one thing that they will never, I would say this is the thing that stands out to me. If they're calling about a car and they'll be like, color doesn't matter. Right? Color doesn't matter.
Bull crap.
It absolutely matters. Along with, I don't care if it has AC or not.
Yep.
Most of the time, they've got a preference either way.
Right.
What are some of the things that you've heard? The color thing just stands out to me immediately.
Yeah, exactly. It's there's a lot of them that another one is like, well, the thing, and this actually happens, is people will call and say, yeah, I've got a 1970 C10. What's that worth?
We hear that all the time.
Well, and then the smart ass answer is, well, Mr. Customer, I know you're in Pennsylvania, so 1,000 miles away from here. How about you back it up to the phone and let me take a look at it? Right.
And I always tell people, if you're honest with yourself, you can Google it and have an idea.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or what did that sell for? I'm not interested in the car, but what did that one sell for?
Yeah.
Right? Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, speaking of it, didn't you say, aren't you looking for a new family truckster?
I am, but I currently have an Atlas, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, why does this always happen? And I think it happens with these cars as well. Once a car is paid for, you start looking at another.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Maybe it's just time and I just get bored with things.
Well, it's because it takes so damn long to pay off these late model cars that by the time you get it paid for, you're like, oh, I'm finally out of payment prison.
Right. And then you drive it for a while and you're like, this is a great car. But just like these, eventually you want something new. You want to spice things up a little bit.
Well, the biggest thing with these cars is like, I just had this conversation yesterday. I think it might even be my dad. He bought we found him a 1 or 2 year old GMC pickup, here in the last 8-10 months or whatever. And he goes, holy crap, I had no idea the license plates and registration are going to be so expensive. And I said, well, how much was it? And he said it was almost $600 to title and license in Minnesota a 2023 GMC pickup. And I said, that is exactly why you see me driving old cars. That's one of the reasons. Like, the licensing is significantly cheaper. It's like $120 or $150, whatever it is, to license a car that's 20 years or older or more. And then by the way, most of those cars, they're already done depreciating, or in some cases, if they're old enough, they're appreciating.
Sure.
So you can drive an asset that doesn't go down in value a ton. I mean, okay, maybe it costs you a little, maybe it doesn't, maybe it makes you a little over a few years.
Right.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah. You bring up a good point, because when I was like, I'm tiring of my Atlas, because when I bought it new in 2019, that was the second year, there wasn't a lot of them on the road yet. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's a good family wagon. Mm-hmm. And then 5 years later, everybody's got them. But we've got a Tahoe back there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in mint condition. Yes. It looks cool, and it will do everything that any of these modern vehicles do and more, right? And it's got a ton of room in it. That's a great example. And plus, your tabs aren't going to be $600 every year.
Right. Oh, that's probably something else. When you made the comment about things we never hear customers say. How about things you never hear dealers say? I mean, if we're going to make fun of the customers, we got to make fun of ourselves too, right?
What's with all of your years of experience? What is one thing that a dealer will never say?
You know what, George, Mr. Customer, I wouldn't talk to my manager. The big joke is, he's got to go talk to my manager.
Right.
I went and talked to my manager, and we had a heart-to-heart talk, and he decided that we were making too much money on this car.
Right.
And we're going to give you an additional discount on the car. How's that sound?
Right. Yeah.
When's the last time you heard that?
I always explain to you, when people come, this is one of the funniest things I've heard. If I trade the car for that, you're going to make money on it when you sell it. I know shit. Come on, right? Exactly. How do you think this business runs with 50 employees and all of this?
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, I've said this to my wife, whatever. I said, I wish we could make as much money as some of the people think we do.
Right.
It's like, oh my gosh, they think every car's got $10,000-$20,000 laying on the hood. It's like, no.
and often we are taking a chance.
Oh yeah.
I mean, 100%. You talk about that. You really have to evaluate it. And by the way, our intake guys do a great job. If you're selling on consignment, they will tell you most likely what you're probably going to get for the car, right? So listen to those guys, and then they'll tell you, if you fix a few things, you get a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right?
And obviously we're just having fun, making fun of both sides here, but the old joke is things you never hear either side say. It is a dance, let's face it. It's as old as buying and selling automobiles is a 125-year-old business, and you know what? A lot of it is. So I've got some training stuff actually from the Chevrolet and Ford from the 30s and 40s and 50s, the original sales training, service training, the old, you'd click, push the clicker, and it would
carousel.
Click. Yeah.
The carousel,
yeah. And it's so funny. The stuff that they talked about in the 30s literally still applies. I've thought about bringing it in for our sales team and do like a retro sales meeting.
I would love to see that.
Honest to God, wouldn't be all that different.
Right.
It's crazy.
I'd love to see that. And I learned this as well. As far as the haggling and getting the deal done, both sides really love it. That's part of the culture.
Yeah, a lot of people say they don't. Yeah. It is what it is. If everybody wants a straight, people want a straight line, that's fantastic. If they want to, as they call it, play the game, okay, that can happen too, I suppose.
Right. Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's. I'll never forget this old guy that I worked with when I first started in the car business, and he said, he goes, when you do a car deal and a trade and everything else, he said, if you feel like you sold it too cheap, and the other guy feels like he paid too much, then that's probably about right.
That's exactly.
And I thought about that at first. I'm like, what? But then the more I thought about it, that actually kind of makes sense.
Right. We have cars in here that have an incredible amount of money put in with modification, and there's documentation to prove it. And the guys that are buying it are going to pay less than what was actually put into the car often.
Right.
So I tell guys, if you're going to build your car, do it. Do what you want to do to it. We've got an 80 Camaro that's back sitting outside the service shop right now. It's going to have a little bit of work done, but he had a new motor put in that, new suspension system. I mean, that car is ready to go. Will he ever get that money out of it if he sells it? I don't know, but I tell you what, if you want that to be your Camaro,
build it the way you want it. Yeah,
and
exactly.
we can do that for you, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, speaking of muscle, I heard you and Dylan talking earlier. You were kind of geeking out on this whole row back here.
I was, and I know that you've got some stuff you need to get to here real quick, and then I'll come grab you. But I want to take a walk down the aisle here because there are some cars in here that are just, I mean, to me, because I have no problem with resto mods. Right? I'm all about that. The performance, handling. If you can make a car from the 70s move and turn like some of these modern cars, I got no problem with it.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I got no problem with it.
Exactly.
So I'm going to head down with Dylan. We're going to take a little walk down the aisle, maybe run into some of the guys, and then we'll catch up with you in just a bit.
Perfect. Let's do it.
The 1969 Chevrolet Biscayne. You could call this a sleeper car. It gets passed by so many guys because it's not an Impala. Kind of a plain Jane look to this car. A lot of guys will tell me there's nothing special about it, but there is something special about this car. It was originally produced as a much cheaper version, right? Used as a fleet car, law enforcement, taxi services, all of them. Is what makes this car special is it's one of only 6 built with an M22 4-speed transmission. The car itself is absolutely beautiful. Tons of room inside, but what really makes this car special is what's under the hood. Let's have a look. That is the big block 427. This car was all go. So again, another car that gets passed by too many times because it's not a Chevrolet Impala, but car guys know these cars. Just in this 1964 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu. Of course, the Malibu had the upscale trim package, sought-after car, a little bit more class. The interior on this car is absolutely fantastic. If you're looking for restoration, this is one that is done right for sure. Let's take a look under the hood. That is a crate motor. And talking to my techs, they told me that the way you can identify that is on the valve covers, you see the mounts go right down the center versus around the side. So crate motor, absolutely gorgeous car. Paint's fantastic. And again, the beginning of the muscle car era. A lot of people call that a sleeper. Working our way up the aisle here, we're going to get into some serious muscle because that's what it's all about, right? You hear me talk about second generation Camaros. I love second generation Camaros. 1978 Camaro Z28. This one's done right. The knock on these second generation Camaros, obviously the emissions did a lot to hamper power and performance. This car has been restored and modified in fine fashion. Hotchkiss suspension system. It's got an LS2 and disc brakes as well. So you're going to get all the suspension and handling that you would like with some of the more modern vehicles, all packed in to a 78 Camaro Z28. Let's head up the aisle. It gets better. Dan, a regular on the Motorhood podcast. Just cleaning up that Roadrunner. We're going to have a look at that in a second. One of the most overlooked, again, sleeper cars, 1969 Nova. You'll hear some of the hardcore car guys talk about Avon. That's Nova spelled backwards, kind of a shot at these cars, but lighter weight, more practical, certainly more affordable. This one is loaded, ready to go. $396 with a turbo 400 transmission. Let's take a quick look under the hood. Nothing Avon about that car, right? Again, more affordable option. These get overlooked all the time. Fantastic cars at a very affordable price. the 1968 Dodge Charger. This one's yellow, but a lot of guys will remember the car in the chase with Steve McQueen in Bullitt in '68. That was a black Charger RT. Kind of made this car famous. Had what they call Coke bottle styling as they moved back across the back end of the body. This car is loaded and ready to go. I had never heard of a Mega Block V8. And then I saw this car. Let's take a look under the hood. Actually, we won't. How's this for a B-roll? This car base came with a 318. This is a 575 Mega Block V8. Absolutely huge. As soon as, you know a car is good when it rolls in and the mechanics are like, come on over here and take a look at this. And I did, and I was like, I didn't even know what I was looking at initially. This car is incredible. The great thing about this car and cars like this, you pull up to a stoplight and there's a Corvette next to you. C4, C5. Odds are if you have a companion, she's getting out and getting into the car with this guy. This is American muscle. But again, iconic American muscle, 68 Dodge Charger. The Plymouth Roadrunner, 1970. Dad, what's happening?
Cleaning.
Polishing it up and making it look pretty.
Just dusting them off a little bit as they come in. They're a little bit dirty, so we got to have them look pretty in the showroom.
What drew guys to the Roadrunner?
Actually, these Roadrunners were inexpensive cars, fairly lightweight, and came with choices of big motors, as well as the standard 383s. And this is a 440, so it's one of the bigger.
It's funny that you say more affordable, because that's what they were thinking at the time, right?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But this car is straight American muscle. A lot of guys would consider this one of the sleepers of that era, right?
They did. And the thing, when I was a kid and everybody was buying these, the other advantage that a lot of guys liked about this is a torsion bar front suspension. Was very easy with a wrench or two to lift the front end 2 or 3 inches. So you had that drag stance of the high front end, low rear.
Sure.
Easy to do. No change in modification to the car at all. Just a wrench and jack the thing up.
What about that horn, man? Based on the classic cartoon character, they actually had to pay Warner Brothers.
Yes.
They did.
To use that sound.
Yeah, they
Yes.
did. They paid Warner Brothers to use the sound.
Yeah.
Incredible car. Let's take a quick look under the hood. What are we looking at here?
We're looking at a 440 with a single 4-barrel.
Single 4-barrel 440. Yeah. So this was the sought-after engine.
This is, yes, the 383 was standard, if I remember correctly, in these. You couldn't get the 318. The Roadrunners were performance cars. So it started at 383, 440, and of course then there was that Hemi.
You don't see as many of these cars as you do a lot of the other classic American muscle.
No, the Chevelles, the Mustangs,
Sure.
You see more of those around than these. Couldn't tell you why, because they were really popular then. Could be some of them just didn't last.
Sure, sure. Beautiful car, man.
Yeah, it is.
And again, a classic example of American muscle, 1970 Roadrunner. 1967 Pontiac Firebird. By the way, this is our shop foreman, Pat. Pat, first of all, let's pop the hood on this 67. I'm all about Restomod.
Yep.
What are we looking at here? That's an LS.
Correct.
An LS swap. And you said the E85?
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
It's probably been tuned to E85. That's why they got that sticker right there.
Right.
And then they got the fuel pressure regulator right next to it. Car has aftermarket cruise. Well, of course it's aftermarket cruise, but it has cruise control, power disc brakes, all Willwood.
How hard is it to swap one of these in here?
They're making them easier and easier by the day. They're making adapters to make that motor fit about anywhere.
Right.
You know, they sell you can see right here, they got aftermarket nice motor mounts that bolt it right in. They bolt right to the LS, and then they bolt to the factory cradle that came in this car with the factory motor mount.
Right.
And then this one also has all tubular upper control arms. It's got 4-wheel disc brake, all Willwood stuff, so they put some money in it. And they even painted the coil packs and the valve covers to match the car. So they took some time and were thinking when they did it.
Would this car handle anything close to like some of the newer vehicles. Suspension handling. Braking's obviously going to be great, right?
Braking will be very good in
Yeah.
it, way better than what this was from the factory.
Right.
As far as, you put this next to a newer Firebird, they'd probably run pretty even. This one will just look way cooler.
Much cooler, much cooler.
Yeah, this is a beautiful car. I like this one.
This bad boy's ready to roll.
Radio they had a little crazy with, aftermarket seats.
Yeah, they did a good job on the interior as well.
Right.
American Muscle, modified. Man, I could sit out here and browse and talk about these cars all day, but let's go find Jeremy and see what he's doing. Well, that was fun. It was. I got to go down there and just play, right? Because that's pretty much what I do when I walk through the doors every day.
No, I was gonna say you should just stop with that's pretty much all you do. And I still don't know how you talked me into actually paying you to do that.
Right.
But
it's like, and I tell people, they were like, "Do you actually work there?" I'm like, "Well, my title is part-time podcaster." That is exactly what I am. So when they see me listed in sales or anything else, I'm like, they just needed some place to shove me.
I think it needs to be, the rebuttal to that is, do you work there? And you should say, well, define work.
Right.
Because
to me, when you walk through those front doors, and I've said this to you, it is hard to beat this when it's your office.
Right.
I mean, come on. You got to talk about gratitude here, right?
Yeah.
To me, when these guys walk through here, and I know a lot of the guys that are working here feel the same way. We walk down this aisle every day, and it is like a kid in a candy store, man. It is.
Yeah.
So I did. I stopped. I know that a lot of guys don't pay attention to this car right at the front door here, but we have a 69 Biscayne down there.
Yeah, right.
It is fantastic, right? It's got the big block 427.
Yep.
So if you want that motor, right, and that traditional big block, it's there. We worked our way down the aisle. I looked at that new Chevelle. We've got a 78 Camaro with an LS swap, and it's a beast.
Yeah.
A Roadrunner. I found a Charger down there, and a 67 Firebird. And I talked to Pat a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah, that's a Pro Street.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, Pro Street car.
Yeah, it is. It is fantastic. So, yeah, it's like,
Nice.
and they're all, I believe, still available. But
I think so.
as I've learned in the past, if you're looking at something, there was a guy that was the day before you.
That's correct.
Right, and he's probably going to make his decisions based on that as well. So he's 24 hours in front of you. So don't hesitate.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to be excited about the Wild.
Oh, my gosh. So freaking cool. You couldn't have written the story any better. They were down in the last game of the season, right?
Right.
They needed 1 point to get into the playoffs to control their own destiny. Otherwise, they had to sit around and wait for somebody else to lose and all this garbage. And 20 seconds left in the third period, they tie it. So at that point, they get the 1 point, but they still play overtime. Gustafson sits. They put Fleury in for his last home game, regular season, possibly his last game ever, because I doubt he'll play in the playoffs unless Gus gets hit by a truck or something like that.
Right.
But man, and then he was
cool
just vintage Fleury. He's had 5 saves in overtime. I mean, he's flying. I mean, for 41-year-old, and he's just such a good dude. Yeah, it was. So he got to have a win on home ice, and it was freaking awesome.
We have something to cheer for in Minnesota because our baseball team sucks.
Oh, it's
that's an example of how not to run a business.
Yes.
The Polide family.
Yep.
I will come right out and say that.
Yep.
It's just insane. So.
Yep, they're on the cheap all the time. I mean, the stadium is nice. Target Field is beautiful, but it's,
do you remember what they said if we built them that stadium, that they would build a winning team?
Yeah, right.
No, we that's not happening. So.
Right.
Rumor is they may sell. Either way, we've got the Wild. We're the state of hockey, right?
Yeah, now they're going to go on to play the Vegas Golden Knights. Yeah, that's going to be a tough series. In 3 head-to-heads this year, they've lost all 3, the Wild. So Vegas is tough. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but at least they're in.
Well, I was going to say, if there was ever a time, now would be. Come on, how many times can they beat us?
Well, the good thing is, when we played them before, we were missing Kaprizov, we were missing Joel Eriksson-Ek. So the good news is we're healthy going into the playoffs. So maybe we got a fighting chance.
I like it.
Yep.
Hey, we never did get an update. I don't know. I'm going to kind of like shift gears here for a bit.
Yeah.
But a couple of episodes back, you had an encounter with some undergarments that if you have not seen the previous episode, it was by accident. You got up in the dark and you put some boxer shorts on, and they weren't necessarily the ones that you thought they were. I have to bring this up because did we get to the bottom of you wearing women's underwear? Did we get to the bottom of that?
Well, we did get to the bottom of it. I think. We talked about that. We after much consternation. I was fretting about that. I asked my wife, "Whose underwear am I wearing here?" It's kind of an important question, and it turned out to be my stepdaughter's sleep shorts. We went through that, but what's funny is there was a text thread that I didn't see until after we aired that, and my stepdaughter. She's a neat freak, right?
Sure.
You don't touch her stuff. You don't use her bathroom. You don't. She's just. She likes things her way. She sent a text to her mom in all caps, and it says, "His balls were literally in my sleep shorts."
I guarantee you, every girl that age would have been thinking and said the same thing to herself.
So, of course, my wife washed them, and she refuses to wear them. She threw them away.
You're kidding me.
She threw them away.
You're kidding me.
I would not kid you. Garbage. Threw them away.
That's classic. So was that a classic example of they've touched his taint?
Yes, I think so.
Right.
That was a no-go. And I'm like, well, then give them back to me. I'll wear them. I wore them before. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, again, we have the Twin Cities Auto Show going on right now, and we've got some cool stuff highlighted up there.
Yeah, there's 8 or 9 cars up there at the show, and it's a great event. It's at the Minneapolis Convention Center. And it's car people, young and old, new and old, and it's a great kind of a melting pot of people. Some people are there looking at electric vehicles, and some people are there looking at carbureted vehicles in our room. So and everything in between. So it's a neat mix. Yeah.
The A-Team van is there with Cars Against Crime.
Correct. Yeah, he's got a great. A nonprofit that he runs there to help out, and that's where that van went. He's got all the other ones too. He's got Starsky and Hutch. He's got this Mystery Machine, Scooby Doo. He's got all kinds of them, man. Barney Fife's car, all of it. So it went to a great home, that A-Team van. So it was cool that we were able to get that placed with him.
And you've sold that guy a few cars.
Oh yeah. He's bought and sold several with us over the years. He's
awesome.
Great guy.
That's awesome. So again, find us at the Twin Cities Auto Show. We've got some of our sales guys up there, and if you're interested in consignment, that's a great chance for you. Again, we're always talking about, can I make enough money on my trade?
Oh, right.
Hey, you know what? If you're even thinking about that, give us a call. We'll talk about consignment, right?
Absolutely.
You can probably get top dollar.
Tis the season right now.
Tis the season.
It's spring here in Minnesota. I know everybody, people in the southern states have been driving their cars year round, but for us, this is the second best thing to Christmas because we can finally start getting the cars out and cruise.
And we're only about a month away from our first roll-in.
For sure.
Right.
Yep.
And again, food, we've got live music. And it's just a great gathering point. That's the fun time. We're just getting to the fun time to me, where we can get out and drive the cars and talk about it.
Yep, nothing. Love the smell of love the smell of petroleum and oil and exhaust in the morning.
That's why I take a walk through the tech shop, right? That's right. I tell them it's like I'm taking a bath in testosterone.
Exactly.
That's what it is like when you walk through our tech shop. So, all right. Remember, we're going to leave you with this: when in doubt,
gas it.
Just gas it, man.